This is FinTech Futures at FinovateFall, and I'm joined by Guido Petrelli, founder and CEO of Merlin Investor. Guido, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with us today. Just to get started, can you quickly let us know a bit more about yourself then and your career so far?
First of all, thank you for having me today. I'm Guido Petrelli. I'm the CEO and founder of Merlin Investor. Before this, I was an executive in the automotive sector for over a decade, where I was in the position of CFO and COO.
Excellent. Sounds great. So can you tell us a bit more about Merlin Investor then? What technologies and solutions does the company currently offer, and what markets do you operate in?
Merlin Investor is a fintech company on a mission to democratize financial inclusion and investment planning towards conscious investing for all, while also helping financial institutions to attract new customers, increase deposit, trading, and wealth management commission. Our product offering is a suite of wealth tech solutions, and they are a set of educational, strategizing, and tracking tools powering retail investment platform. They have been sold to financial institutions in the B2B2C space, and basically we cover different topics, starting from the marketing side, investment planning, portfolio management, performance analysis. So everything that goes along with wealth tech that is not the pure execution is what we offer and get into the market.
Sounds great. So, how did the idea for Merlin Investor come about then? What was it that motivated you to start the company?
It actually started out of a personal need. I had been myself a retail investor from the time when I was a teenager. Then basically going through the academic course, I have a degree in business administration and finance. I quickly realized that the key to succeed when investing doesn't rely in the execution tool per se, but instead, like the expert know very well, it lies in the ability to design a diversified and balanced investment strategy to carry forward. So for many years, I was using trading platform to execute, but then I was forced to create my own homemade spreadsheets in order to study the market, create portfolios, analyze the different risks, compare one to another, backtest. So to do all that strategic thinking that's supposed to come before you actually start to execute, start to invest real money. And so I went into the market looking for something like what I had in mind that could solve my need, and I couldn't find anything even close to what I envisioned, and I decided to build it. So that's basically the story how Merlin Investor was born.
Amazing, yeah, no, fair enough. So the economic environment has been quite tough for fintechs at the moment. How has your journey been with Merlin Investor so far, and how have you looked to define your business model and sales strategy?
Well, definitely a lot of challenge in the fintech space, especially in the past couple of years, but also a lot of opportunity. So like everyone, we had to face many challenges. I would say that the main two challenges that we got were either product and market-wise. Starting from the product, the main challenge was basically to translate the same rationality that we applied, like we mentioned before, market study, investment planning, portfolio management, and so on, to translate them into a tool that could be easily accessible and understandable also by the masses, because usually such kind of rationality is managed by the expert. So the translation of such rationality into an easy-to-use tool that could be designed for everyone was a challenge during the product phase. And instead, if we should look more in terms of markets, you know, when you innovate, you are basically trying to sell a technology that you see can have a use and a value either today or in the medium long term. So it's pretty much normal, let's say, that not everybody gets it at the first time. So from the market side, what we had to nurture was a sort of mentality that was probably was still not able to accept what we were doing, because we were looking more ahead, and at the same time they were focusing on the digitalization in terms of the basic banking services. So to overcome such product and market, let's say, mentality was the biggest challenge, but so far we succeed, and I'm happy to see also that more and more we go on, more and more banks basically start to see the future in the same way I we see it, which makes me positive for the future evolution of the company.
Yeah, that sounds good. On that front then, how has the retail investing landscape evolved in recent years, and what kind of trends are you seeing across different markets that you operate in?
If we look at the retail investment space, we are basically looking to somebody investing their own money, and in the past it was pretty much all the time filters by an intermediary, being an expert, a bank advisor, a wealth management, and so on. So that was basically the only trend until a few years ago, when we have seen trading platform coming on board and making the execution part of the investing accessible to everyone. So this is a big change that we see, and that, in my opinion, will be always more and more relevant moving forward because of the wealth transfer that we start to see and that we expect to see in the decades to come. We are talking about trillions and trillions of dollars. So we have, in terms of user, the new generation that want to be more independent in the investment process. And at the same time, we also have, let's say, wealth managed clients that, even if they are fine to still rely on the intermediary, still they want to be much more active and inside what's happening with their money, how their money are managed. So this is the change of the mentality that before, giving an analogy, was like everyone going around in the passenger seat. Trading platform gave a car to drive to anyone, and in my opinion, where we need to fine tune and the piece that we are missing is in the educational part, in the driving license, in the brakes of the car, to have a real, complete and conscious democratization of the retail investment landscape.
Excellent. I mean, you've touched on it there. I mean, how important is that democratization then of retail investing when it comes to boosting financial inclusion and providing the latest generation of investors with the tools that they need to not only manage their finances but also manage the risks as well?
Again, I think that if we really want to keep going along with this democratization process that is happening, we need to consider the full investment cycle, especially the strategic part, in order to be successful. I mean, there is this saying, idiots with a plan will outsmart genius without a plan. I really believe in that. So always going to focus on the investment planning and the risk management part is what I believe we are missing, and we need to integrate into the new era of retail investing in order to basically have a complete democratization process.
Excellent. And I guess, how are banks in particular having to adjust their offerings and to keep up with shifting customer demands around wealth management, investment planning, and what does the latest generation want from their kind of banking relationships?
More in a general view, now we see the banking industry being revolutionized by technology. So digitalization is the word of the game in the banking transformation right now. And we have seen a lot being done on the basic banking services part, like the bank account opening, the payments, the debit card, and so on. And now we are getting to the wealth management and retail investment landscape. And so the digital transformation is definitely a denominator that needs to be kept in mind also in the specific wealth management space. But then when we go more deep, let's say, in how to adjust their offering, again, I believe that for the investor that want to be autonomous, they need to have a complete set of tools and not just an execution tool like it happens in most of the case nowadays. And instead, when we're talking about wealth managed clients, what they are demanding is a sort of end-to-end client portal where they can understand and stay on top of their investment, even if they are managed by somebody else.
Yeah, so, I mean, guess what are some of the applications then of your technology in the banking sector then, and what are the key benefits for them in terms of deploying your offering?
Let's start from the value proposition, because it's the same along the full product line. Basically, we believe that if the bank will spend time to educate and empower retail investors, they will have more skilled and informed clients. More skilled and informed clients will ultimately result in depositing more money, trading more, or investing more, which means more interest on deposit for the banks, more trading or wealth management commission, and at the same time also the ability to cross-sell such the services and vice versa with the basic banking services. So with this common value proposition, we see multiple banking applications for our suite of technology. we start with the enhancing the market study and insight. Basically, we go beyond the standard performance graph and market news. They are becoming a sort of commodity, and our approach here in this space is basically to consolidate multiple sources of information all in one place, also including social network, because today Gen Z and millennials more than 66% goes to social network for investment advice or suggestion. So the first application is the market study, where we basically pull together much more sources and then we make them easily accessible to the final user. Also, they can be helped in the discovery process through some AI tool that we deploy. Then the second application that we see is on the wealth aggregation. Basically, the possibility to consolidate all in one place the different position of one client with different banks, also including assets that are not trading electronically. Let's think about real estate, for example. So getting everything together, an holistic view, which is useful either for the retail investor to have a clear understanding of its full wealth, but also for the bank to have a much more deeper understanding of their clients, which can ultimately result in the upselling of additional services. The third application, which is, I would say, a little bit the core of our product offering, is what we call the strategist playground, but to make it more understandable, I will name it paper trading. Basically, the idea of trying without taking the risk to get burned until you feel confident enough to start investing real money. But how we do is not a copy and paste of an execution tool, but there is a user experience, a flow that basically allow everybody to easily create their own portfolio by cherry picking the asset and then do all the strategic thinking. Then as fourth application, we could say the most common, also because it's flexible either for independent or wealth managed client, is the portfolio tracking. You know, when you get into your app and you see how their investments are doing, most of the time you are limited to understand them in terms of performance and in the risk that you are taking in terms of probably asset class or currency. With our portfolio tracking capability, we go much more deeper in analyzing the risk, analyzing the performance, but going deeper doesn't mean that we make it complicated. And then the last but not least application that we receive a lot of interest is in helping the banks to upsell their portfolio, because they have their products, their different portfolio that they want to upsell, but they face two main problems. The first one is the efforts of the relationship manager in upselling such portfolio. The second one, to make their clients understand what they are offered, even if their clients, they are not experts. And in this way, in this case, what we do is to replicate, to rebuild such portfolio and to make them accessible to the clients so that they can by themselves easily study the products they are offering and understand the risk they would face. So they are more educated, more likely to invest in one side, and at the same time the bank is also cutting down on the cost of the relationship manager for upselling the product. So to summarize, market study, wealth aggregation, paper trading, portfolio tracking, and bank's portfolio upselling are the main applications that we receive interest for.
That sounds great. I mean, you've touched on a few things there, but from the investor side of things, well, what benefits do they see from your platform, do you think, that they're not seeing from competitors in the space?
In terms, if we start looking at the competition, we see basically the offer of execution tools. And that's the first differentiation that we have. And the value that we add for the retail investor is basically to complement such trading experience through a complete and conscious investment process using tools that anyone can easily understand and rely on. So in other words, basically the fact that we complement the investment experience through educational and strategizing tool. And at the same time, also the ability to do it with a very, let's say, innovative and new gen UI UX, it's what makes us different from the competitive space.
Excellent. And just to finish off then, I mean, what's next for Merlin Investor moving forward then? And do you have any new developments in the pipeline that you can tell us about now?
Currently, we are focusing in two main directions. One direction is to scale our operation and partnerships in the country where we are now focusing, and right now we are primarily focused in the Middle East, where we have seen a lot of interest derived by the combination of strong intention to innovate from the country, and then also a high percentage of young population. Both together help our project. So to boost, let's say, our commercial side of the business is one of the main directions we are working on. But at the same time, we are also continuing to work on the product improvement, so in order to add new feature, new capability, still falling within the same space and within the same value proposition, but again, to continue to build on top to what we have been doing. And of course, because it's for sure a buzzy word, AI, nowadays, we are also working on some AI application to our technology in order to help and make even more easy the process of building up a portfolio and then to monitor the performance and analyze the risk.
Sounds great. Well, exciting times ahead. And Guido, thank you again so much for taking the time out to speak to us today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.